This time I wanted to point you to an interesting article written by Alexander Cockburn. It appeared on the Counterpunch website. I'll post a link to it next to my video. Terrorism flourishes brazenly at ground zero in the new 7 World Trade Center building. Here can be found a secretive entity of fabulous wealth and power. Kingdom and corporations alike tremble at its shadow and make haste to pay it tribute. I refer to Moody's Investor Services, a wholly owned subsidiary of Moody's Corporation, which reported a $2 billion revenue in 2006. On January 10th, Moody's, in concert with the other main bond rating firm, Standard & Poor's, gave the United States its top AAA credit rating. The terrorist blackmail threat that came in the form of a demand by Moody's that the U.S. government reform Social Security and Medicare. In the very long term, the rating could come under pressure if reform of Medicare and Social Security is not carried out, as these two programs are the largest threats to long-term financial health of the United States and to the government's AAA rating, was the quote. Now, whenever they start talking about reform of Social Security and Medicare, we basically know what that means by now, namely cutting back on both of these programs. Needless to say, no mention at all that we might be cutting back on defense spending as well, on military spending, which takes up a huge amount of the national budget. Stephen Hess, Moody's top analyst for the U.S. economy, spelled it out even more explicitly in the London Financial Times. If no policy changes are made, in 10 years from now, we would have to look very seriously at whether the United States still has a AAA rating and could be even the anchor of the world's financial system. If you have a downgrade, you have a problem. So here is the little threat. And basically, Alexander says that unless the U.S. government now follows this agenda, it's not Cockburn who says this, but Moody's is who's saying it, and Cockburn is reporting it. That basically Moody's is strolling around Lower Manhattan unmolested, even if his threats or their threats could add up to the financial equivalent of a thermonuclear device planted under the Statue of Liberty. As I say, think for yourself. If we have to cut back on Social Security and Medicare, perhaps we should be cutting back on the military budget as well. Some other news, or rather, this is more or less speculation. It hasn't been really followed up in the mainstream news either, as you might imagine. You might remember a few weeks back there was reporting that there were some undersea internet cables cut in the Middle East and in South Asia. So here was a little tidbit today from APF, which is the French press agency, with the headline, "Saboteurs may have cut Mid-East telecom cables." Damage to several undersea telecom cables that caused outages across the Middle East and in Asia could have been an act of sabotage, the International Telecommunications Union said on Monday. We do not want to preempt the results of ongoing investigations, but we do not rule out any deliberate act of sabotage caused the damage to the undersea cables over 2 weeks ago. And, as you know, 5 cables, or some reports said even more, were cut. And some experts are now doubting the prevailing view that cables were cut by accident, especially as the cables lie at great depths under the sea and are not passed over by ships. And this was reported during a conference of cybercrime held in the Gulf state of Qatar. So there you have it. Even the experts are questioning whether this was just accidental. So that's my little commentary for today. I'll see you later.